Welcome to the Smart Drive podcast, where driving education meets real talk. My name's Simon Horton, and on this special edition of the Smart Drive podcast, I'm hoping to remember what it's called.
It's a good little start, Simon. Well, I'm Ashley Neal. I'm a driving instructor by trade, but I dabble a little bit on YouTube. I occasionally upset a few people, so it's good to see you, Simon. Are you okay?
Yes, thanks, Ash. Very good, and it was good to see you as well. And as I said at the front of this, a special edition from the podcast, just because we want to do a little bit of work towards our charity commitments and educate our viewers and listeners in those aspects of our work. So, yeah, it's interesting. What's been keeping you busy? I know what's been keeping you busy because you did a half marathon yesterday, didn't you?
Yes, I certainly did. The Liverpool Half Marathon. It's the first half marathon that I've ever run. I was going to say in competition. It wasn't treated like a competition from my part, but running with people, and there was 15,000 people who entered into the half marathon. It's totally different aspect to just running on your own. There's positives. You sort of like get kept along with the flow of people, but it doesn't give you the boredom. But there's other parts to it as well. People don't always run at the pace or start off where they probably should have done in the big queue.
Right.
Myself and my wife Liz, we started off pretty much at the back, but we probably underestimated ourselves, and we ended up for the first probably 8 or 9 miles running past most people. But we got it done. We finished. We got a reasonable time as well. 2 hours 18 minutes for me. First effort was pretty good, but just treating it like a prep for the London Marathon, which probably ties in perfectly to my reason why we're going to be talking about my charity today.
Yeah. So it sounds like you got some overtaking in done yesterday.
Certainly did. Pocket of space was also on my mind, Simon. Yeah. Honestly, it was brilliant. It was a great experience. It was fun. It went through quite quickly, to be honest. So all good. But another 6 weeks. No, it was absolutely vile. Yeah. You pack your bag, and it was all new to me. You pack your bag and take it with you, and then you put your bag along with your running number onto a lorry. And all right, they only shuffled it up probably a third of a mile up the road from where I started to where I finished. But you then pick up your bag at the end, so you need sort of like a little top that you're going to be able to donate to charity, and that's effectively how it works. So I had a hoodie, but I took it off way too early. The starter gun actually started 3, 2, 1, off we go, and because we were at the back and there's 15,000 people, it took approximately 40 minutes to get everyone through the start line, and we were about 30 minutes into that. So I heard the 3, 2, 1 go, took my jumper off, put it in a place where it was going to be picked up and donated, and by the time we got to the start line I was absolutely freezing, and Liz took my lead as well. She discarded her hoodie, so we were sat there, we were stood there juddering for about half an hour. It was horrible, but we also got rained on. But listen, charity work shouldn't be easy, Simon. If you know, I'm trying to encourage people to donate to my cause. It shouldn't be just to sit and talk to you for 30 minutes. That's really easy. Doing a half marathon isn't.
Yeah. And you say 6 weeks, is it, to London?
6 weeks to the London, yep. We've booked our train tickets, we've booked where we're staying. Got a little bit of training to do because I found it quite difficult yesterday. Not super difficult. I'm not at a stage where I think, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do a London Marathon. I still think I'll be able to do it, but it's not going to be comfortable. I've still got a fair bit of work to do over the next probably 4.5 weeks. I've got to push myself. I've got to probably get running over 18, 19 miles. I think that's the sort of stage that people usually say if you can do. Mm-hmm. You can then go and push it on to the 26. And then it tapers down towards the end. So I've got a fair bit of work. But again, it's the commitment to my cause and my charity. And a little poignant point for today's recording as well. We are recording this on Monday the 16th. And my charity is the James Bulger Memorial Trust. And today would have actually been James's 36th birthday as well, Simon.
Wow. I mean, that's I mean, not only does it still seems like such a short amount of time ago. It's almost fresh in the memory.
Absolutely.
And I was thinking about this earlier when we were talking about doing this podcast tonight, and I know there's going to be a lot of viewers and listeners that may know the name, but we're of an age where we remember what happened and how that then sparked off the trust. And I guess the question I was going to pose to you is what got you interested in supporting this charity in the first place, if you're able to share.
Yeah, of course. It actually happened how I got to know Denise and Denise James's mum and Stuart, Denise's new partner, was actually through the guy he lives quite close to me, a fella called George Sefton, who is known as the voice of Anfield. He's been a pre-game and half-time announcer for 50 odd years. He's just retired. And George lives quite close to me, and I taught George's kids, a couple of George's kids. And Stuart, James's mum's new partner, knows George as well, and asked, is there a driving instructor that you know? And because it's sort of a friend of a friend, they're the people who I still continue to teach. So I actually taught what would have been a couple of James's brothers. And from that, we started going to their black tie dinner. And it was a couple of years ago now that my better half had a couple of glasses of wine and actually opened her mouth when she probably should have done and said, "What can we do to help the charity? I tell you what, we'll run the London Marathon." And I was just sitting there going, but once you say it, you stick through it. And but to be honest, I'm making a little bit of lightheartedness over it. I'm really made up that we're doing it as well, Simon. For a little bit of my benefit as well, a tiny little bit. I'm not getting any younger, and it's probably given me that little bit of a boost to not end up at 55 and about 18 stone. So it's done me a little bit of benefit, but the most important thing is the charity.
That's really good. It's a good little backstory. And I think I will confess to being ignorant of the work that they were doing right up until you started talking about it. Would I be right in thinking the first thing you did from a charity perspective was the Volvo piece? Are we got that?
Yes, yeah. I started a series on my YouTube channel about purchasing a first car, and when I started the series, I didn't have it in mind to do what I did, and I eventually raffled it for the charity. I just did the series and I went through the process of the pros and cons and what you should be looking for insurance wise and maintenance wise, and I ended up choosing a Volvo V50. It was 1,800 quid. I called on a few favours from a few people who I've known for many years who run businesses around Liverpool, and we tarted it up a fair bit, and we raffled it for a £5 a ticket, and we turned a £1,800 car into 4,655 quid. So it was an absolute result. And like I said, when I started the series, I didn't know what to do with it, and I thought, should I just sell it? I tell you what I'll do. I'm going to use this as a Kickstarter for my London Marathon campaign, because we knew that we were running the London Marathon for the James Bulger Memorial Trust at that point. And it was just my little way of starting things off, to be fair, Simon.
Yeah, it was good. And for the benefit of people that maybe still are ignorant, as I was, are you able to tell us a little bit about what they do and who they support?
Certainly, yeah. They support children who have been victims of crime, harassment and bullying, and they offer support and respite. They've got a holiday lodge up in Preston that people, when I was going to say they've been nominated, it might have even been something really good that a child has done. Mm-hmm. They can get nominated to go and spend some time up in the lodge. There's many situations that I've heard of that I've been told stories of, and they're absolutely heart-wrenching. There was one particular situation where a family had lost both kids within a couple of year period. It's mainly to support the kids, obviously, but it's the families as well. They've got a support line, and they do great work. It's not a massive charity, But all charities need a little bit of help, and this is the one that I decided to put a little bit of effort into at this time in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. There's not many people choose to go on holiday to Preston, but you can see that just having that facility there and being able to offer respite for parents and carers, and you can really see the benefit that can bring to families that are struggling.
Absolutely. And it ties in, all right, this isn't a push over the last little bit, but I'm also a big supporter of animal charities, in particular Carla Lane Animals in Need. And there's a nice little link between the two for me, and this is my way of thinking, that animals and children have very little choice in how they end up in the situations that they're in. They're just passengers, and they just get taken along with the ride, and when it's a poor ride, they need a little bit of support. So that's where my two main charities come in. But it is the James Bulger Memorial Trust that I'm concentrating obviously on at the minute. Mm-hmm. What about yourself, Simon? What sort of things have you've been dealing with charity-wise over the last little bit?
So, from a charity perspective, if we go back in the annals of time, I did some charity work for animal welfare, bringing it back onto our usual topic of cars. You'll probably remember I used to have a Land Rover, ex-RAF Land Rover. And when I had that, okay, I was one of the nominated rescue drivers for Bolton Wildlife Hospital. So whenever they got a call, I would be on the other end of the phone to go out and go and collect any injured or distressed animals that they were going to take into their care. So I had that little bit of support there that was able to provide just because I had the right vehicle. Had all sorts of weird and wonderful things in the back of that thing. But fast forward to more recent times, and without disclosing the myriad of details, we're both, myself and Carla, my wife, are very passionate about mountain rescue and have been on the receiving end of their services as well as contributing as well. So Carla's family of one of the founding fathers of the mountain rescue movement in Cumbria, Keswick Mountain Rescue. Yeah. So we support that a lot, and alongside that, the air ambulance support that they provide as well. Cool. So that's been quite.
Sorry to interrupt. I was running behind air ambulance support in a marathon yesterday for a fair bit, so it just triggered that little thought. It's a really worthwhile charity that you're looking after, Simon.
Yeah, and there's a little link there because when we had the Westfield sports car and we used to go out on the tours, one of the people and friends that we made during those tours now, Matt and partner, that she now runs the charity fundraising arm for Great North Air Ambulance Service. So there's a little link into there as well. And of course, you yourself know that through the work I do with Axiologic, we support Fair Share over in Leeds and give our time to those as well. So we do our bit where we can. And
absolutely,
it's nice to be in a position of being able to pick and choose where you can donate your time and effort, as well as potentially putting your hand in your pocket.
Yeah, that's right. And I enjoyed that day over with yourself at Fair Share, mate. It was a cracking day. It did actually surprise me as well that such a professional organisation that you work within, in other words, the premises that I came to say hello to people when we started off from, that people give up their time not just once a year, because I think you remember the question. I said, do you do this every year? And you went, no, we do it much more than that. How often, do you even go over to Fair Share as well, Simon?
Well, I get 4 charity days per year, and as you'll know, we tend to do a half day Fair Share. So in theory, I could do 8 visits there per year, and that would be in my allocation. I don't always have to dedicate my time to Fair Share. We do have other charities that we support as well. I did a Christmas toy run again, loaded the car up with Christmas toys and supported one of the other charities on the other side of Leeds just back in December. So there's some time given there, but I will try and make an effort to use up my given charity days, because that's what they're there for. We're encouraged to use it. There's a lot of companies that say, you get charity days, and then it's almost like lip service, and they don't really mean it. And then when it comes down to it, they'd rather have you earning money, but not with us.
Yeah. One thing that doesn't quite sit right with me as well, Simon. You'll probably think, oh my God, what's Ashley going to go on about here? Is talking about the work that I do for charity, and I'm sure you're the same. I know you well, Simon. And it seems wrong to me to be telling everyone about the work that we do. But my little message is, if it wasn't for the exposure, we wouldn't be able to do our bit for the charities. It's sort of like when people donate to a charity. I'm looking at my Just Giving page. It's been really positive again today. There's so many people who donate such massive amount of money, and I'm talking about, I've been pushing to sponsor me 10p a mile, which is £2.62, which is perhaps the price of a coffee. Forgo a coffee and, you know, sponsor me to run the marathon for 10p a mile. But there's certain people. There's one guy today who sponsored £200 and he left it anonymous, and that's something that I would probably do. So it just feels a little wrong talking about it, but we need the exposure to do the good that we're trying to do, Simon. Don't you agree?
I agree totally, and that's why I wanted to do this podcast in particular, because the Podcasthon platform, where they do promotion of podcasts that are supporting charities as an annual thing, it gets the message out there, and it kind of amplifies our exposure in a way that says, this is not just about the Smart Drive podcast, it's not about Simon, it's not about Ashley, it's about, you know, increasing our exposure to other people, and potentially and then, you know, maybe getting some more footfall on your Just Giving page. So just remind us, how do they get to the Just Giving page for you?
Honestly, I think if you just type in my name, Ashley Neal, ASHLEYNEAL, you will find it. There's always links in the description to my YouTube videos. I even
to the audio versions of these.
Excellent, thank you, Simon. So you'll be able to find it somewhere. The fundraising is going really, really well. I've set myself a lofty target of £25,000, but I think we're pushing 10,700. So it's gone really well.
Good.
I'm within the top 100 fundraisers of the London Marathon. So that's a great little pat on my own back. But for all the people who have helped and sponsored, amazing job. Thank you so much. But we're going to keep this going past the London Marathon as well. Probably towards the end of July, I'm going to keep on pushing. I've got the James Bulger Memorial Trust Black Tie Dinner again in a couple of weeks. I'm taking one of my viewers and subscribers with me who I had a closed auction to come and join myself and Liz, and he bid on that and won on that. And I'm not going to name drop, absolutely not, but I've called on a couple of favours from my old career as a footballer, and a couple of really generous people have already donated prizes that can be raffled, and there's a few more coming in as well. So please keep tuned for that one.
Excellent. So thinking ahead, we've got 6 weeks countdown, we've got some more money to raise. I've seen the footage of the London Marathon, and you think you're a half hour wait for the start. There's something. Watching the logistics of getting all those thousands of people through the start gate is incredible. They have multiple different tracks.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Well, yeah, that's right. And there's 15,000 people ran a half marathon in Liverpool yesterday. Apparently there's 55,000 people who run the London Marathon. So, listen, at the end of the day, if I have to wait around, I have to wait around. If I've got to be cold, I've got to be cold. It's nothing compared to the people who are going to be stuck on the top of a mountain and need mountain rescue to come off and get them. Yeah. And it actually takes me back to my younger days. I used to do a fair bit of mountain biking, and a couple of my mates went up to the Lake District, mountain biked up a pretty high, I wouldn't say a mountain, but hill, and then the fog came in and they got lost and they had to be rescued as well. So that just reminded me of it, thinking about, you know, what we've been talking about, Simon. So it's really important. How can people help your charity as well, Simon?
Well, I think this is where, from a geography point of view, regardless of where you are in the country, you will be near some sort of mountain rescue charity. Donate to the local charities. They all need your support. If you're not in an area where you benefit from their services, you'll certainly be visiting one, whether it's the beautiful Lake District, Peak District, or any one of the other national parks. Look out for their donation boxes, or go online and help them out. And likewise, if it's air ambulance support, they're all over the country and they all operate as volunteer services. So do look them up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You reminded me there was one of the things I used to do as a regular thing, an annual thing in the Lake District, using my own leadership and walking experiences, because I used to be a scout leader and do all sorts of training courses like that. But I used to lead a group of inexperienced walkers on an annual walk over the fells in the Lake District for children in need. And then
brilliant.
that turned into doing the same thing for Cancer Research UK. But that was one of those things where we had one of those incidents happen where if it hadn't been me that was in the leadership team, it would just been a group of friends out walking, then they would have needed the services of mountain rescue. But luckily I was able to be on site and provide the immediate first aid and get them off the mountain safely so that they could then check themselves off to hospital for the small surgery they needed. But
Right, okay.
various
Good.
incidents.
Have you had experience? First time I've experienced yesterday going back to the half marathon. Have you had experience of those emergency blankets, the silver ones, Simon?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't they brilliant?
Yes. Yeah.
Fabulous. I literally was absolutely soaked wet through, freezing cold. As soon as I put this blanket round me, it's like, ooh, this is all right.
Yeah.
I was amazed, and that's an important part of kit that I'm suspecting that Mountain Rescue, they're going to be carrying with. They're going to be having all those type of things to keep people warm. But
even just carrying
interesting
one
you
yourself, they fold down to virtually nothing. And I have the pleasure of
That's right,
saying
yeah.
I have one in my rucksack that I have never used, that has been there for 30 years. And I'm very glad that I've never had to use it in anger. But I wouldn't go out on the fells without something like that.
No, and if I was honest, Simon, it is a little piece of kit that I am now going to purchase and have a couple in my car as well if we ever get caught out at winter time and break down. Superb.
Yeah. So good luck with the rest of the fundraising. An enormous amount of awe on my part is doing the running thing. Not only does it not appeal to me, I just don't think I have the commitment levels that you've had and continue to have. So I'm absolutely in awe of what you're doing.
Well, like I said, Simon, it shouldn't be easy. Yes, there's loads of sacrifices that I've had to make, but it's not about me. It's about people who you can help, and people who can get helped thinking about your charity as well, Simon. It's not being selfish, it's being selfless, and that's our call to action for everyone listening or watching this. Please help us out.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of our viewers and listeners that are regular or are new to us, if you want to reach out and ask questions on any one of these charities, or indeed pose as a question for our normal podcast routine, you can do so at the email address hello@thesmartdrivepodcast.co.uk, or leave us a comment, leave us a review. All of those things are welcome. Normal service of the Smart Drive podcast will return shortly. We have lots of topics and conversations that are in the backlog that we can talk about.
Yep.
But I think for now, we will say thank you very much for your continued support, and we look forward to helping Ashley raise loads and tons of money as he runs around and pounds around the streets of London.
Here. Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you, and we'll see you all soon.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.